Hey everybody, it's spring here in New Zealand, and there's so much bird activity going on in the area that I live. Birds are flying around, chasing each other, making dances performed. Birds flying past me with pieces of twig and straw in their beaks, all with the purpose of creating, sometimes quite elaborate nests like this one I've got here. And it's all go and all ready for eggs and new creation. And just along the road from where I live here, a plover, which is kind of a seabird, has made a nest, or made a nest a little while ago. And I went and had a look at it, and there were three little eggs in it. And then later on, I saw a chick wandering around, looking kind of dazed, I suppose, finding its new life. Um, but I like the concept of a nest, and often when I'm doing soul talk with people, just listening and so on, I talk about the concept of a nest, a place of support, protection, and nurture, a place where um, construction has taken place for the development of the next generation. And it really takes time to build a nest. It also takes energy and a kind of craft. This twig and branch and piece goes into here, and this piece goes here, and this piece of dry grass is woven into there. But the nest grows really strong, and then it's ready, for the next generation. And I like the idea of the nest in the sense that I think we all need a nest of relationships, a community where we can be held and supported. And I often, when I'm doing soul talk with people, I talk about the various strands of nests that we might have, family members and friends. For some of us, those may not be helpful strands at times, but they're still there. Um, it could also be specialist type strands, such as therapists, doctors, nurses, social workers, and pastors. They all bring, I suppose, a specific skill to the support. But it can also be your neighbour, the bus driver who greets you, a friend you walk with, or even a kind old man who says hello to you as you walk by. It is a nest of relationships. And you are also a kind of a strand in the nest of other lives too. I remember a counsellor asking me if I could help a person who needed a church community that would be like a kind of a nest for his client. They needed a really supportive faith community where people understood mental illness, but that the mental illness wasn't going to be the dominant focus. A kind of a nest where there's going to be soul talk, where they could be empowered to become all that God intended them to become. A place where they were invited to share their many gifts and talents. A place which we actually had the byline, a place where everybody was somebody and Jesus Christ was Lord. That was our byline. A place where everybody was somebody and Jesus Christ was Lord. A place where everybody knew their name, not intrusively, but they knew who they were and welcomed them as equals. It was to be a place of creativity where growth of their personal self was to be encouraged and endorsed. A place that was simple, small, and basic, but perfectly crafted by God to nurture the God life in them. I call this type of nest, this type of place, church. Church is not a building. Church is not a venue. Church is a kind of like a gathering of twigs and off-cast old grass. It's a coming together of fragments to create something of beauty. It's where you weave with others for the empowerment of the other. It's a third place, and there's a link in. There'll be a link in the show notes that actually talks about third place. Do you have a community like this? I think it's really vital that we all do. Small is good. Small is good. Jesus said, whenever two or three are together because of him, you can be sure that I'll be there. So I define church like this: two or three in conversation, and Jesus joins the party going on. That's pretty broad, isn't it? Two or three in conversation, and Jesus joins the party going on. We had some friends of ours around for dinner or for lunch a few weeks ago. That was church. Jesus was there joining the party. Pretty broad definition, eh? But I think we have drifted a long ways from those early church days of simplicity, of people just meeting together, having a talk about life and Jesus turning up. Uh, we've drifted so far. Can we create something like this again? Can we create billions of nests across the world that become soul talk conversations? I believe we can. And that's why I'm running a new class called It's Church Gym, but not as we know it. Kind of a Star Trek type thing going on there. But what would it be like if instead of what we have now as church, we have something very different? More like people having incredibly supportive conversations, supporting each other. And then out of these conversations, songs and music might emerge. Social justice arises and we take action. Prayer springs forth. Relationships heal and take on new purpose. So if you want to join with us on this new class, the topics, I've just got topics here. One of them is how do we get here? And I'm just going to do a small leap into church history. I'm going to talk about church and ice cream. I'm going to talk about third places, the 6 streams of the Christian tradition, and creating a place. And the cost, it's a donation. And if you want to join us, it's happening at the end of this week. It's the first week of October 25. And there's a link in the show notes below. And I just love you to be there. The cost is a donation. And the classes are going to be recorded so you can watch them at a later time. But you will have to register for them. They won't be free to search and find on YouTube. Hey, join us soon. I'd love to have you with us and hear your considerations about this wonderful topic. Okay, bye.